turned on. Yeah. Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Temple Beth Shalom. I'm Robert Davis, one of the rabbis here, Cantor Lisa Siegel, Rabbi Gail Pomerantz, Alan Caves, Marshall Folstein with the magical flute over there. And we're so glad that all of you can be here to spend Shabbat with us. This week's Torah portion that we're going to be reading tomorrow is Bishalach. It tells the story of our ancestors getting out of slavery and standing at the shore of the Red Sea, and then the sea miraculously or metaphorically parting, depending on how you understand the text, and our next step in the journey toward freedom. As the Israelites are standing there on the shore of the sea, they start to whine and moan and complain, and they call out, "God, save us." And God responds, "What are you looking at me, Moses? What are you looking at me for? Tell the people to go forward." Very much something that we have to do for ourselves. We can have the sea split, we can have plagues, we can have miracles, but ultimately we have to take those steps forward. We are standing now on the edge of Shabbat, ready to enter into a change in our life, the rhythm of our week, to take a breath, to breathe a little bit. No one is going to take that next step into Shabbat. God's not going to take you into Shabbat. You got to walk yourself. So let's all rise, greet each other, and we'll sing a little Shabbat Shalom and welcome each other to Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat
Please be seated. I ask you to turn to page 2 in the prayer book and invite Phyllis and Marty Winston to come up and lead us in the kindling of the Shabbat candles and for Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
And now in preparation for Kiddush, page 4.
Vayehi erev, vayehi voker, yom hashishi. And there was evening, and there was morning, the 6th day. V'yachalu hashomayim b'horetz v'kol tziva'am. V'yachal Elohim b'yom hashvi'i. V'lachto asher osor, v'yeshibas b'yom hashivi. V'kol melachto asher osor, v'yovarech Elohim es yom hashvi'i. V'yakadesh oso, ki vo shabas mekol. Melachto asher barov Elohim lasos. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the 7th day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the 7th day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the 7th day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from the work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho ve'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. As this is Shabbat Shirah, you're going to hear a lot of music, a lot of pretty musical settings. I hope you will enjoy. The first one being based on Psalm 95, Lechuna Ranana, Come Let Us Sing Unto God. And this is written by the composer Alana Arian, who we're going to have the pleasure of having here on Shabbat, February 28th. We hope you'll come back. Let us sing unto God a new song. Let us sing unto God a new song. Yai la la he la 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 he la la la. Yai la la he la 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 la. Yai la la he la 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 he la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. That's the melody for the Chunarana. Let's try it again. Yai la la he la 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 he la la la. Yai la la he la 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 la. Yai la la he la 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 he la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Lechunarana. Lechunarana l'Adonai, Nariya l'tzor yishenu, Yekad mafanav v'toda, Bizbrod Nariya lo, Bizbirod Nariya lo. Yai la la he la 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 he yai la la. Yai la la he la 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 la. Yai la la he la 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 he la 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 la. Yai la 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 he la. Yai la 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 la. Let us sing unto God a new song. Let us sing unto God a new song. Together, yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la.
Our next prayer is Lechado D. Imagine you're a slave for hundreds of years. the only thing you want to do is just to rest for just a moment. And then you start to walk through the sea, and the Israelites start chanting this song, Lecha Dodi, this amazing sense of greeting Shabbat. For the first time, the slaves get to have a little Shabbos. It's while they're walking through the Red Sea that they have this moment of this taste of freedom. So as we pray this beautiful prayer, Lecha Dodi, let us imagine not just welcoming Shabbat, but let's imagine us as Israelites thousands of years ago having never been able to rest ever. And in front of you is this notion that you're going to get to rest and relax and enjoy the world. Lecha Dodi, page 20, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Ya la 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 la, lecha dodi. Ya la 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 la, likrat kala. Ya la 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 la, penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabe. Ya la 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 la, lecha dodi. Ya la 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 la, likrat kala. Ya la 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 la, penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat nekabe vela. Shamor v'zachor, v'diborecha, hishmianu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shem hu tiferet, v'litchila. Ya la 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 la, lecha dodi. Ya la 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 la, likrat kala. Ya la 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 la, penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lecho v'nelcha, ki mikor habracha, ve'rosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshava techila. Ya la 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 la, lecha dodi. Ya la 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 la, likrat kala. Ya la 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 la, penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva oreh, kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai, alayich nigla. Ya la la la, lecha dodi. Ya la 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 la, likrat kala. Ya la 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 la, penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'sola, toch emuneh, am segula. Boi Ya la 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 lekrat kala. Ya la 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabe. Ya la 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 lekadoti. Ya la 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 lekrat kala. Ya la 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabela.
Remain standing. Baruch Hu, page 28.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach. Le'olam avad. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokma poteach sharim, u'vitbuna mishanei itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem b'rakir kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aharavim.
Page 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
Imagine standing at the shore of the sea. Someone's got to start walking in. The Midrash says that 11 of the 12 princes of the tribes, all with the name of God in their name, were arguing over who was going to walk into the sea. And then finally, it was a guy named Nachshon, named after the snake, Nachash, who started to walk into the sea. Water came up all the way until it went over his nose. And then that's when the Torah says, with that kind of faith, the transition, the opening to a new life opened up for the Israelites. And yet, the Midrash says, maybe Nachshon wasn't so happy to walk in. Perhaps they say it was his sister who pushed him in. We all need a push to be witnesses at that moment. And there's two types of pushes, two types of witnesses. You have the passive witness that's just kind of standing around watching what's happening, and then you have the active witness who says what's going on here has got to change and pushes forward. Let us be that second kind as we prepare to witness the words of the oneness that we proclaim as God with words of Shema, page 34 and 35. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'em. Please be seated. Behafta, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue page 40 in preparation for these words from this week's Torah portion, Michamocha, the beautiful melodies the cantor is about to sing. The Midrash says that when the Israelites were walking through the Red Sea, the walls of water on each side appeared to them as mirrors. It was the first time that they were able to look in a mirror and see themselves as a person. Before that, as slaves, they were just parts of a machine. And this is the first time that they saw themselves perhaps as human beings. So as we sing and pray the Michamocha, let's imagine ourselves looking into those mirrors, and let's imagine our own humanity and our own freedom. Michamocha.
And I just want to mention that this version that I'm singing, which you've heard before, is based on the Shirat Hayam, which is contained in this week's Torah portion, the Song of the Sea, which contains the Michamocha, and then there's the reference to Miriam, and there is the commentator Rashi, and the medieval commentator remarked how when the Israelites were packing, of course we know they didn't have enough time to bake their bread, but yet the women brought their timbrels with them and their instruments because they had faith in God. So the end of this version, you'll hear the Miriam song, the women that were singing and dancing with their timbrels. Yai, lai, lai, la, lai, la, 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 la. Yai, lai, lai, la, lai, la, 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 lai. Ya, lai, la, lai, 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 la, la, la. Yai, la, 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 la. Michamocha. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai. Michamocha nehtar b'kodesh. Torah tehillah rosef
And now we're in the middle of the Red Sea, and we're talking about Shabbos, Shabbat, and the next prayer that we do is Vishamru, celebrating this notion that we get to rest. Yes, we got to work, but yes, we also get to rest. Page 44, Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Try that. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובני ישראל, בני ובני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue now with the central part of our prayer service, HaTefillah. It begins on page 46, and it continues on the even number pages. And after we finish with the third of the prayers, which is the Kedushah on page 52, I invite you to continue the prayers silently or the prayers of your own hearts, and please be seated after that as you wish. I ask you to please rise, page 46.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Go Melech Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah rav lahoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid hagah Hashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Bichamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, melech meimid umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'nemanat al hachayot hakol, baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol, atah kadosh b'shimcha kadosh, Ukadoshim b'chol yom yahalalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We continue with the prayers of our own hearts, or the prayers found between 52 and 62.
Uzi v'zimrat Yah, based on, again, Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, written by my friend and colleague, Cantor Rochelle Nelson. I especially like it for two reasons. I love her accompaniment, which sounds very much like water. You'll hear it, especially right in the beginning and throughout. I also like it because it was one of my audition pieces for cantorial school. Ashir al Adonai, ki gaoga, sus v'rochevo, rama vayam, ozi v'zimratia, vayeli Yeshua, zeli v'yanevehu, Elohei aviv aromemenu, Adonai ish milchama, Adonai shemo. Ozi v'zimrat Yah, vayhilil Yeshua. Ozi v'zimrat Yah, vayhilil Yeshua. Adonai ish milchama, Adonai shemo. Markevot paro v'cheloya ravayam umifchar shalishav tubeu v'yamesu. Ozi v'zimrat Yah, vayhilil Yeshua. Ozi v'zimrat Yah, vayhilil Yeshua.
Well, it's no wonder you got into cantorial school. It was beautiful. Thank you. So last week, we commemorated the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. Photos of survivors appeared on the news with commemorations in Jerusalem and Poland and the United States and all around the world. Against all odds, these survivors had reached old age, having overcome the grimmest of circumstances and the most horrific of losses. Within just a decade, there will be only a handful of people who bore witness firsthand to the horrors, only a precious remnant to tell their own story. In a personal account, Rabbi Ed Feinstein shares what happened to his uncle Henry, who was taken at the very beginning of the war and survived more than 5 years as a Nazi slave. Young and strong, he was put to work as a carpenter and moved from camp to camp and ultimately to Auschwitz, which he actually helped to build with his own hands. At the end of the war, as the Allies approached, he was taken on the infamous death march from Poland into Germany, which he survived and was liberated by the Americans in 1945. But Uncle Henry never spoke about what happened to him, ever. His family knew he had been in the camps from the numbers tattooed on his arms and from his peculiar habits, like sleeping extraordinarily still, as if he was in hiding. But he wouldn't say where he'd been, what he'd seen, or what he knew. When their children were grown, Rabbi Feinstein's aunt, Uncle Henry's wife, took a class in Jewish literature and was assigned to read Elie Wiesel's book, Night. She left it purposefully on the coffee table in the living room. And finally, Uncle Henry picked it up one afternoon and began to read. It was all so familiar to him. He knew all the characters and places in the book. Later in the semester, Wiesel came to lecture at the university, and Rabbi Feinstein's aunt and uncle went together to hear him speak. Afterwards, they connected with Wiesel and discussed people, places, and events that had occurred 40 years earlier. They remembered the same things. And for nearly 2 hours, they stood there together in the deserted lecture hall, speaking, sharing. Finally, Wiesel looked into Uncle Henry's eyes and asked him, "Have you told your children?" Uncle Henry sheepishly replied that he had not, that he could not. Wiesel, the writer who broke the silence after the war with his book Night, admonished him, "You must. If you do not, they will never really believe that it happened. Be a witness." And so on Passover that year, Uncle Henry sat the family down, and for more than 3 hours, he told them his story. The deportation, the ruthless separation from his family, the camps, the cruelty, the brutal march through the Polish winter, and finally, liberation. And so the family sat in silence. And finally, somebody asked him, "Why did you wait all these years to tell us?" "How could you understand?" he responded. "You grew up here in freedom and in safety. You don't know hunger or fear or hate. And why would I want you to know that? I've spent my entire life protecting you from that nightmare. So why are you telling us now? They asked him. Because Wiesel is right. If you don't hear it from me, you'll never really believe that it happened. You will never believe it was real. It's time for me to be a witness. Upon reflection, Rabbi Feinstein understood that his uncle ultimately taught him the purpose of the constant retelling of the biblical story of the Exodus, how those ex-slaves must have felt knowing their children and grandchildren would never understand the reality of slavery, of degradation, of fear and hatred. And yet without their story, without their personal remembrances, their pain and their loss, it would become an abstract, impersonal history. Those ex-slaves understood that they were witnesses, and when they shared their memory with others, the others became witnesses too. This week, on the heels of the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, we are once again retelling the ancient Exodus story in Parshat Beshalach. And we do this not only as part of our annual Torah reading cycle, but of course we do it every year at our Passover Seders as well. We are instructed, Bechol dor vador chayav adam lirot et atzmo ke'ilu hu yatsa miMitzrayim. In every generation, a person should see himself or herself as if he or she went forth from Egypt himself or herself. It's not enough to remember, our tradition tells us. That's too passive. Rather, our tradition tells us that it should be ke'ilu, as if we ourselves went forth from Egypt. We have to feel it, to taste it, to experience it, to ingrain it in our psyche and our soul. We have to become witnesses, because it's only when we become witnesses that we will be willing to put ourselves on the line to pursue God's call for justice and freedom, not only for ourselves, but for all of humanity. The world is broken, no doubt. But we must not surrender to despair, because in this week's Torah portion, there was a miracle. After the harsh brutality of slavery, the Israelites crossed through the Sea of Reeds on dry ground. The promise of redemption gives us enough hope to tell the story, and then to tell the story again and again. Thousands of years ago, the Israelites were redeemed from slavery and sang their song of freedom, as it's written in this week's Torah portion, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. And 75 years ago, there was another miracle. Despite torture, forced separation, starvation, gas chambers, and the death march, Auschwitz was liberated, and a precious remnant survived to tell their story. This is not just history, it is our story too. We are all entrusted to be witnesses, and we must pass this narrative from generation to generation to generation, understanding that in pain and suffering, there also comes responsibility, the responsibility to live ke'ilu, to live as if we were just redeemed, so that we might recognize that our purpose is to redeem others. Amen.
Beautiful. we witness so much in this world. One of the things that we witness is not just the pain of memory that we have and the joy of memory that we have, but also there's pain amongst us. We're going to make a Misha Barak prayer, a prayer of healing, not just for those of you who are here and friends and family, but also for those in around the world that are still enslaved, that don't have that taste of freedom. Perhaps through our prayers we can bring a little bit of witness out into the universe. And so if there's someone that you are praying for who's in need of renewal of body, renewal of spirit, I'll ask you to please rise and mention those names out loud so that everyone in the congregation might be able to pray on behalf of the people for whom you're praying. Thank you. Thank you. In addition to the names just mentioned, we continue to pray on behalf of the American and Israeli soldiers who are missing in action, being held captive, or in need of physical and emotional healing. As well as I invite you to pray on behalf of the people whose names are listed in our Shabbat Vayinafash pamphlet. These are names that have been called into us by members of the community, and I ask you to pray on behalf of those names as well. And we'll pray together, Misha Barak. It's on page 253.
Misheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
It is our custom at this moment to pray a Shehekianu, this prayer that reminds us how blessed we are just to make it to this very moment right here. And so I'm going to call out a few different things and ask you to stand if something speaks to you. So if you're new to our congregation, don't be embarrassed. I ask you to please stand up if this is your first time ever at Temple Beth Shalom. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Beautiful. Welcome. And stay standing. And if at some point in your life you exited out of your own Egypt, out of your own Mitzrayim, out of your own difficulty, I'll ask you to rise. A little vulnerable there. Yeah. Yep, most of us have been there. And if you've ever gone through a transition in your life like the Israelites, I'll ask you to please rise. And if occasionally you've had a moment where you felt like you entered the promised land, real or imagined, I'll ask you to please rise. And if you're grateful that you made it to Shabbat, to this moment, I'll ask you to please rise. If you haven't stood up, I'll ask you to please rise. If you're a child or a child of any age that'd like to come up here and be close to the Torah while we do the Elena, I'll ask you to please come on up. And we turn to page I always forget that. And before we do that, we're going to do this Shehekianu, how grateful we are that we made it. Thank you, Cantor.
Together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
We remain standing. We remain being grateful. We turn to page 282 for the Aleinu, and we face toward the east.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Take a few moments now to remember all those who came before us, those who may have died in years past at this season, and those who may have died in recent days. As a congregation, we remember the more than 6 million men, women, and children who were murdered in the Holocaust. Remember those who died making sure our homeland Israel exists for us and for Jews everywhere. Remember all those who died in the name of liberty, freedom, justice, and righteousness. As well, we remember all the innocent victims of hatred, ignorance, terrorism, and of natural disasters. On this Shabbat, we remember friends and family whose names have lovingly been inscribed on plaques, which are in our alcove of remembrance, and we're observing their yortzites. We remember Gerald R. Albert, Ronald L. Albert, Arlene S. Albin, Morris Alpert, Mo Blaustein, Bernard Kaplan, Lynn Friesner, Pauline Kessler Kivel, Stephen J. Kogan, David Edward Lair, Benjamin Liebschutz, Ann Loeb, Faye Loban, Howard J. Lundy, Miriam Menon, Anna Miller, Bob Posner, Sarah Reese, Molly Schumann, Abraham Seplowitz, Herbert S. Shapiro, Ellie Siegel, Mo Silvers, Sylvia Sonnenreich, Edward Stamler, Saul Topolsky, and Sammy Wexler. Remember as well friends and family whose yortzites are being observed at this time. We remember Rebecca Berman, Benjamin Bernstein, Hugo Blau, Rosalind Canfield, Wolf Chaplin, Edith Delman, Nat Eichel, Ruth Feldman, Charles Fenster, Morris Giller, Louis Haas, Margaret Hartman, Celia Candell, Morris Candell, Faye Kaufman, Becky Kinzer, Ray Lifland, Samuel Litz, Helen McElfresh, Doris Milland, Max Meth, Ariella Moses, Libby Navinger, Ed Nosen, Gordon Okerman, Ann Holmes Peterson, Jeffrey Samick, Jacqueline Shimarini, Joan Semsker, Jaime Tenenbaum, and Zachary Trautenberg. And we remember as well those who've died in recent days and their families remain in the Shloshim of mourning in the 30-day period of mourning. Remember Doris Oleski, Pearl Rosenberg, Maurice Cornelison, Sue Rose Samuels, Lois Hildebrandt, Andrea Pollock, Lila Rosthal, Maurice Glazier, and Elliot Grossman. And if there's a name that I haven't mentioned, you're in a period of mourning, you're saying Kaddish, you have Yortzeit, I'll ask you to please rise and mention those names. And please remain standing as we're going to join together for Kaddish in a moment. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of all the righteous be a blessing as we rise and with one voice recite words of Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlech malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'yimru, Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Olamei Almaya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitroman V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shmei D'Kudusha B'rechu, Le'elah Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechamata, Damiran V'yalma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, Yimaru, Amen. O say shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimaru, Amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all of you who mourn, comfort all who are bereaved, and send healing to all who are saddened, as together we say, Amen. Please be seated. I'd like to invite up Bart Chepnick, a member of our board, to share greetings on behalf of the congregation.
Beautiful service. Thank you very much. An inspiring night. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. If you go on the website, tbsnb.org, you will be overwhelmed with, click on the calendar, you'll be overwhelmed with how many things there are going on at this synagogue. I can only highlight a few. There are some that are in the insert in today's Siddur. Otherwise, what's coming up on next Wednesday, February 12th, the Sisterhood, you can take an Uber to this one. It's a kosher wine tasting from 6 to 8 at the Total Wine on Miami Beach. You can register online and pay. It's going to be a very nice night. A lot of those events are great. Not that I've ever been to one, but I'd like to be invited sometime. That said, Brotherhood has an event on February the 27th, and that's going to be at Top Golf in Miami Gardens. That's at 7 o'clock, and I'm not sure if transportation is arranged from here, but 7 o'clock, and that should be a lot of fun. They always are. Also register online for that as well. And then the big event is Mitzvah Day. That is going on Sunday, February the 23rd. And there are 50-some groups doing great things, and you can still be a part of it. You can go online and check out what's going on and join a project. If not, please come. Just show up. That's what it's all about, in the first place. And if you can't show up and you don't want to register, please come at the very end, because there's going to be a terrific soup contest. All proceeds go to the Florida Immigration Coalition. That's FLIC, who's doing very important work in our country right now, in our state and country. And so come for the soup. That'll be a lot of fun, and it's a good way to kind of decompress from a day of really, really good works. Again, Shabbat Shalom and Shabbat Shalom.
Cantor? Earth to Cantor? So we're going to conclude our service with the singing of Oziv Zimrat Yah, page 343. Please rise.
Zimrat Yah.
Shabbat Shalom.